So Arsenal are bottling the league.
We're going to ban the use of the word bottling in this debate. We're not having it. We're just not having it. I'm putting that down. That's a marker right there.
But what do you call it then, Daniel? Man City are 5 points behind Arsenal. They're going to play them on Wednesday. Arsenal are in not terrible form, but Man City they're in that form where they're going to probably win every single game to the end of the season. What do we call it?
They are definitely stumbling. Stumbling. We're calling it stumbling down the stairs. But my kind of feeling on this, my strong feeling, and I've had it for a while now, is that I do think that this is their best chance under Arteta to win the league, and they have to take it now.
You see, I understand why you say that, but I don't necessarily agree, right? I think with what Arteta's building up, and don't get me wrong, I know Chelsea's not going to be in the same position as they are this season, next season. I know Liverpool are probably going to be better than they have been this season, next season. But at the same time, with what Arteta's built up with this team, I do think there may be other opportunities for them to find success with winning the league. Maybe next season, maybe the season after, but they've got, I think, maximum 3 to 4 seasons to try and win that league again.
I think it's what you're saying success looks like for Arteta's Arsenal. I think if we're saying that they're now going to be a consistent top 4 team again, I think based on what Arteta was expected to do when he took the role in 2019, that is probably a good thing if you're just kind of stepping away from it. But if we're talking about them winning the Premier League title, I think that Erling Haaland is kind of like Jaws at the moment. I visualise kind of right now for a lot of this season, Arteta's been lounging, doing the backstrokes in the sea, feeling very happy. The sun's there. He's going to be sort of beckoned, to be anointed the new Arsene Wenger, to end this long stint of misery with no Premier League title. But then you just hear that noise and it's just Erling Haaland coming up from the sea, and on Wednesday the massacre will happen.
Do you know what? I agree with you. I think Manchester City are probably coming for blood. They can smell the blood, and they're probably, like you said, Erling Haaland is Jaws. He's probably going to bite off Arteta's head come Wednesday.
And let's hope not. I mean, that'd be an interesting game. But no, just referencing something you said earlier in terms of like, I've spoken to some Arsenal fans and they do reference a young squad, a young head coach, a sense that this is kind of ahead of their development. Like no one expected them to be at this point at the start of the season. But football, as we know, is unpredictable, and it's a game of many variables. And I think my issue with such certainty that Arsenal will be okay, and if they don't win it this year, there'll be other opportunities. Sure, I'm not going to say that's unrealistic, but you are counting on a lot of the same variables, the way they are now and they've been for this season, staying the same. So the current group of players, particularly younger ones like Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, Martin Odegaard, continue to play at a similar level, like they don't drop off. Also, Arteta, his feeling within the club as a coach, is that undermined by some bad transfers? If the transfers continue to be as effective as they are, that's a tough thing, like Liverpool know, to continue going on to have that hit rate of transfers over and over again. But also, I look at the opposition. I look at the teams who could improve. Chelsea, Liverpool, you suspect next season will be at least a little bit better than they are this year.
Of course.
Newcastle, strong investment, feel like they're only going to get better. Man City are just going to be up there. Man United, potentially under new ownership, who could spend even more money. There are so many things thrown into there, and I know that Arsenal fans won't like this comparison, but it slightly reminds me of the conversations that were happening around Mauricio Pochettino's Spurs when they had those 2 close, title runs. And it was a lot of, this is a young team, they're kind of going above and beyond expectation. There will be other opportunities. There wasn't other opportunities, and that's kind of my point. I'm not saying that if they don't win the league, it's the biggest failure ever, but I just get the sense with Arteta, particularly as a head coach, this is when an opportunity presents itself, even if you think it's ahead of expectation, you have to take it now.
But I also think, right, and I agree with you in that aspect, the opportunity is here now, he's got to take it. But I do also think that the best coaches, they manage to thrive through this. No matter how good the teams around you get, if you want to put yourself in the conversations with Arsene Wenger, you want to be Arsenal's new saviour or whatever, you have to prove that you can do it. And if you can't do it this season, that's fair enough, because obviously Manchester City, they bought Erling Haaland for a reason, right? They bought Erling Haaland because, you know, they wanted to win the Champions League. Their Premier League is still there for them. They're now in the FA Cup final as well. They can possibly do a treble, right? And that's why you've got a player like Erling Haaland in there. And if you are Mikel Arteta, you're looking at this challenge and you're not thinking, there are other opportunities where we can win this. You want to win this now, or at least within the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Because you have a team, they are pretty young. I think if they do win the league, they'll probably have like the youngest average age of winning the League of Champions. But at the same time, they do need to age a little bit within the next 2 to 3 years. And I see that happening. And I see Mikel Arteta wanting to kind of live up to the challenge. But like you said, it depends on the young players if they're able to keep up this momentum, if they're able to kind of put it in their minds that, if we lose the league this season, we can get it again next season kind of thing. But it's all down to mentality and transfers. Arsenal are looking kind of tantalising to go to. Like, as a project, I'd want to go to Arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, you would do, because it's a unified place at the moment. Let's move on to just looking at their final fixtures.
Yeah.
So, 6 Premier League games left. Arguably, the most defining of all of those games is this Wednesday at the Etihad Stadium versus Man City. After that, Chelsea at home next Tuesday, Newcastle away, Brighton at home. In their final 2 games, Nottingham Forest away and Wolves at home. So those final 2 games, you'd expect Arsenal to do well in. The other 4 are very, very tricky.
I think Wednesday is a title decider. Man City, Arsenal, that is the title decider. And if Arsenal somehow manage to pull it out of the bag, they've got the title for sure. But if Manchester City manage to win that match, it's all Man City's to go.
I even think a draw is a favourable result for Man City. I don't think it will feel like that on the night, but I think it's a game that Arsenal have to win. I think they have to walk away from that game psychologically. I think if they were to go and win that game, it would flip kind of the momentum again.
100%.
But I do think without Saliba, given what we've just seen from Arsenal and their inability to stop conceding goals, I think they'll beat Chelsea, because everyone beats Chelsea this year.
Yeah.
Newcastle away is a really, really tough game.
They just did to Tottenham.
And they'll be fighting for Champions League football.
Yeah.
Brighton have done incredible things this season. They'll still be going for it. And Forest, Forest I think are awful, but they will, you'd suspect by that point, will still be trying to survive in the Premier League.
Exactly. I think the match that stands out the most to me over there is the Newcastle match, because they didn't have a lot of favour against Newcastle when Newcastle came to the Emirates. I think it ended 1-1 or something. It ended in a draw.
0-0, I think it was. 0-0. So Newcastle, incredible season.
Exactly. And they are on a roll that nobody could have predicted, right? And they just beat Tottenham, 6-1, scoring 5 goals in 20 minutes. Don't get me wrong, Tottenham have been awful for the last couple of weeks, especially since Antonio Conte. In fact, before Antonio Conte left, they were still bad. But Newcastle, they are on a mission to get that Champions League spot. And, I think they've got it anyway. But if Manchester United start to creep up again into good form, if Tottenham somehow find their form as well within the next couple of weeks, it's going to be a tight race for them. So that's the match that I'm looking forward to the most. This match is a title decider for me, but let's say Arsenal do manage to get a draw. Arsenal versus Newcastle, Arsenal will have to give it every single bit of their body, honestly.
Big question to finish. Will Mikel Arteta win a Premier League title before he leaves Arsenal?
What kind of questions that you put me on the spot? I hope he would, right? And that's coming from an unbiased Chelsea fan. I do hope that Mikel Arteta can win the Premier League with Arsenal, but he's got 2 or 3 years to do it. After that, I don't think he can do it, because I do think every single team is going to just get better and better. And I'm going to flip the question back to you, Daniel. Do you think Mikel Arteta can win the Premier League with Arsenal?
No, I think this is the peak.
This is it.
I think this is the peak.
Yeah.